Hi, I'm Mia from Anxious Girl Knits, and if you're like me, when you first learned to increase, you learnt the make one left and the make one right. Usually this increase is fine, but when you're working in rib stitch, you can really see where it's borrowed yarn from the stitch next to it, because this stitch is smaller. This really annoys me. When I was writing up the pattern for my shape of you vest, I looked into some new different increases that maybe I could use that avoids this problem, and I found this perfect increase. It creates no holes, and look at the defined line. And here's them next to each other. The top one is a make one left and a make one right, and then the bottom one is this new increase. And what is this increase, I hear you ask? It's just a yarn over make one. Don't worry, I'm not going to gatekeep. I'm going to show you how to do it. For this swatch, I'm doing a 3-stitch border. So the first increase will come after your first 3 stitches, and then your second increase will come before your last 3 stitches. You can place a marker 3 stitches in either side if this helps. You can have a border any size you want. Cast on in whatever rib repeat you want, just make a few rows first, and then make sure your next row is a right side row. Knit your first 3 border stitches. For this first increase, you're going to do a left leaning yarn over. Can you see on the needle that the yarn leans to the left? Now work your ribbon pattern until you have 3 stitches remaining for your border. For this one, I'm working in a 4x1 and then a 2x1, so it's a variegated rib. Now you're ready for your next increase. This is going to be a right leaning yarn over. As you can see, the yarn is leaning to the right. And then knit your final 3 stitches. When you're working this next row, this is when you decide if you're going to do a purl increase or a knit increase. Now on your needle here, you can see that your first increase is leaning to the left and your second increase is leaning to the right. Now I know what you're thinking. I've done a yarn over. If I work into that, I'm going to have a hole. But there is a way to stop this, and this is by making sure when you work into the stitch that you're twisting it. This is more simple than it sounds, trust me. Purl your first 3 stitches, and then when you come to your increase, you need to decide whether you need to do a knit increase or a purl increase. So the first increase stitch you're going to work into is your yarn over right. So for this one, you always work into the front leg, so whether you need to knit this or purl this, you need to work into the front leg of this stitch. I've got to do a purl here, so I'm going to purl this. Now work your remaining rib stitch in pattern until you come to your next increase. So this increase was your yarn over left. So for this one, you always work through the back loop. So if you need to knit, you knit through the back loop, or if you need to purl, you'll purl through the back loop. This time I need a purl stitch, so I'm going to purl through the back loop. And now just purl your remaining 3 stitches. And now that's your increase done. You've now done your first 2 increases. Now if you look at it from the right side, you can see that you've got 2 nice clean increases. It's not stolen any yarn from any other stitches, and you've not got any holes because you've twisted the stitch. I've shown you how to do the purl increases, so I'm going to skip forward into the video to when I need to do a knit increase. Whether you're doing a purl increase or a knit increase, your first right side row is always the same. So you either do a left leaning increase or a right leaning increase. So your first stitch on this is always a left leaning, and then your second will be a right leaning. Work in pattern until you come to your first increase stitch. As this was a right leaning increase, you'll be working into the front leg of this. So I want to do a knit here, so I'm going to knit into this front leg. Now work your remaining stitches in pattern until you come to your next increase. This was your left leaning increase, so you're going to work into the back leg of this. So I want to do a knit here, so I'm going to knit into the back leg. And that's all it is. Once you get used to whether you work into the front leg or the back leg of the increase, it's really simple to learn. Let me know in the comments if you knew about this increase, or maybe you didn't and you've just learned something new. Or do you have a favourite increase that you think I might not know? Let me know, I'm always up for learning.